So we are ready now to start studying another opening with white. Once again, our task is to avoid theory, to be very practical, to get good positions, which we will know how to play, to get positions that do not depend a lot in theory, and to get good positions. So we will study now a very nice repertoire. My students are very successful with it against the French defense. We all know that the French defense is, as they say, a very tough nut to crack. Which are the most ambitious lines for white here, or which are the playable lines? Knight d2 is a playable move, but black is doing generally well after c5. Knight c3 is maybe theoretically the best move, but there are tons of theory after both bishop b4, the Wiener, and knight f6 here, lots of theory. And finally, there is the advanced variation, which is again entirely playable and good for white, but still a lot of theory. So our choice cannot be based on anything like that. We will choose the French exchange. Let's clarify something, please, first. This position is very different than the Caro-Kann exchange. Some players tend to somehow mix the ideas. No, in the Caro-Kann exchange, we have this structure. Yes, now entirely different things are happening. So after e5, this is, it was considered to be like a very drawish line. These days, I may say that this type of, this evaluation has changed. These type of positions with the open E file, you can get them very often in the Berlin defense, for example, in some lines of the Queen's Gambit accepted, in the Petrov defense, and in other openings, and in the French defense, for example. And it is considered playable. Additionally, this is a line that is very easy to learn, and nevertheless, it is quite annoying if black just goes to play chess without knowing what he will do. And surprisingly, white quite often gets to some better endgames, which we will see now. We will see what to do. So, of course, just like in every other opening, if black plays correctly, the position will be equal, and if we both play very well, the game will be a draw. Additionally, also count the psychological factor, because black, when he chooses the French defense, usually wants a complicated battle in a closed position, but now the position is comparatively open, so he may not feel entirely comfortable. So after e takes d5, e takes d5, I have chosen to show two systems for white. Why did I choose two? Because the theory is very easy. It is in fact almost non-existing here. We just develop the pieces. You can see immediately, you should be able to judge that here theory is not so important, because after, let's say, one move like knight f3, black has so many different ways to develop his pieces. So we cannot know everything by heart. It would be totally pointless. I chose two ideas. One idea is more aggressive, and quite often it involves long castling. And the other idea is usually with short castling. We will study these lines since theory is not so important. We will study both these lines through some very instructive games. Here we go. First, we start with this game. This is the game between Vorotnikov Vladislav and Igor, the late Igor Naumkin, very good grandmaster who sadly passed away not so long ago. So e4, e6, d5, here, e d5, e d5. Our first line is going to be bishop f4. Quite often with this line, white wants to castle long. He wants to play moves like knight c3, always depending on black's setup, queen d2, and castle long, and get very interesting positions. So the move knight f6 was played, and white played knight c3. Indeed, after knight f6, the move knight c3 is playable. Black played here. After this, we are maybe not in position to go for long castling. When shall we go for long castling? We will see. In most cases, we castle long when this move appears on the board. So after bishop b4, we need to readjust our plans. We will play bishop d3, and our knight will be developed to e2. White has harmonious and nice setup. The position is objectively about equal, but both sides have chances, and they know what they should do. Black played this move, bishop g4, which is already inaccurate. He should have chosen some other move, like, let's say, the more universal move is this, rook e8, for example. This move is useful in all cases, and as it seems here, we should castle short. Maybe white has a small advantage, but for sure, white has very easy play. Instead, black chose this move. This move is weird because now these ideas with f3 gain a lot in strength. So white played f3, and white is already better. Black played bishop h5, and all of a sudden, white is going to castle long. Is this theory? Absolutely not. Already by move 9, there is no theory. Already by move 5 or 6, there is no theory. There is maybe something like very little which can be called maybe theory. What matters is the plans, and that if we have more experience than our opponent in the coming positions, in the coming structures, then we have the advantage. So after this, black played bishop g6, and now white castle long. White has very interesting play. I believe that if we take here, which is also playable, black should probably take with the f pawn. If he takes with this, then after long castling, we have a very clear target after h4 and g4. What is the evaluation of the computer here? Once again, nobody knows. You can ask the computer. But during the game, in this unknown position, this is absolutely irrelevant. As I like to say, it's only me, you, your opponent, and the strategical details of the position. So here we are very fast with this h4, g4, h5, and I think white is doing very well. Instead of capturing on g6, white castle short. This is also playable, intending g4 and h4. Black played knight d7, as you can see, and g4. White has a very clear plan, g4, h4, h5. I really like white's position, and in the game, this move c6 was played. h4, white has easy play, and queen takes d3. Later, he won the game. Objectively, white is better here. b5 was played, and h5, this move is very common also in the Sicilian. It has the idea to play g5 and stop knight h5. So h5 first, intending g5, and also intending to use this nice square. Of course, I chose well-played games by white, because this is what we are interested at, to see the strategy. King b1 is generally a useful move, so that after this, if necessary, we can play the bishop back to c1 and organize our defenses. White has very good play. After this, he exchanged. White has very good play, and later he won the game. How about this move? This move may be a little bit irrelevant. We will play here, and we will defend if necessary with bishop c1 and attack on the other side. This is exactly what we want. An easy position to play without theory. In the end, white won the game. Let's check another game. All the answers will be given by the game. Of course, I didn't choose all the time wins for white. Some of the games are won by black and some are draws. So let's check. This is the game between Grandmaster Chigaev and Grandmaster Huzman. Both of them very well known. So he takes it, and bishop f4. Most likely we will castle long. He played bishop d6, especially in the bishop d6 moves, we will castle long. How about this c5 move? As we will see, this c5 move is in fact very weak here, and white has good chances for an advantage in these positions with the isolated pawn. So bishop d6 was played, and the idea is queen d2. Although our plan in this case is to castle long, in many cases, white is aiming for a better endgame, and this is another thing that I really, really love about this position. We will see several times this happening in practice. So knight e7, the computer doesn't really like this move for black, although to a human it looks entirely logical. The computer prefers to put the knight on f6. White continues with knight c3, intending to castle long. So let's consider for a while such a move. Let's suppose that he takes, he plays here. Let's say I choose this move, and he goes here. It is generally very interesting and very good for white to enter such an endgame. Here we are slightly better because we have a better bishop, which sometimes we happily give this bishop for a knight. And now we will examine the ideas behind these typical positions. So here I would like to put this pawn on c3 and stabilize the position. So the best move in my view is this knight here. Besides, tempi are not so important in this position. Of course, if he goes here, I would rather play f3. I wouldn't like to exchange this bishop. And needless to say, if he plays this, we will happily capture it. Let's suppose that he goes here, and I can play a move like king d2 or maybe f3, intending king f2, and he goes here, for example. White has a very pleasant advantage. We can play this move, we can play this move, and one move that I like very much is this. We take here, followed by one move which is the favorite of grandmasters. Which is the move here, please? Who will suggest the move? In this endgame, first priority, as always, is tactics. There are no tactics here. Second priority is big strategical threats, either by white or by black. I don't see any. Third on the list is fixing the structure. If there are no tactics, if there are no strategical threats, is it development of the king? Is it to develop my knight somehow? No. Third on the list is fixing the structure. This is in fact the best move. It is already found by one of the players. For example, he plays something like this. Shall I play here? It's not the best move because he will happily exchange his bishop for a knight. Still, white is better in this endgame. Look, we play for attacks, but we do not hesitate at all to play such positions here. For example, after this, b3, and after this, we play a4. Next move is this, and we have a very comfortable advantage. I wish that every time in the French we get this position, you know? Do you think the player with the black pieces, when he plays the French defense, he wishes to defend such a position like this? Absolutely not. He will hate it. So c3 is also playable, but an even better move would be this one, king d2. Make sure there are no tactics. This is not possible. Let's say he plays a move like this. We go g4. We can play here knight h3. We can play this and develop this other knight to e2. White has, in fact, a huge advantage here, a4. Let's say this to put the knight on d6. So here, white has a huge advantage. We put the pieces like this, or let's say the rook here, and we enjoy the game. Actually, my next move is probably going to be this one, intending to put this knight here. So black has a broken pawn structure and a very bad bishop, and he's wondering, how did this happen? So look, once again, we would like, after exchanging the dark square bishops, we would very much like to enter an endgame. Of course, such a move may give me a heart attack. Of course, we will take it here. Please be careful. We need to include the move c3. So here, at some moment, we may need to move this knight. For example, okay, even this is possible here because as it seems he doesn't have bishop f5. But let's say here, I would play this, but I would seriously consider also this move. Let's say here. And if this, I will happily play here. And if this, I have some information for you. Ever since I was a child, I was never afraid of ghosts. we will take, of course, with the king, not being afraid of bishop f5 check. And this is, in fact, a horrible position. For example, here, knight to d1 to put it here and stabilize the position. A strong technical player like Tivyakov, for example, the first player who comes into my mind, would beat everybody on the planet in this position with white. For example, here, a move like h4, h5. Look, we are making use of all these squares. We stabilize the position with c3, and the knight is going to f4, maybe hide the king here temporarily. And white has a huge advantage here, a winning position. So after the exchange of the dark square bishops, it is usually, I repeat, good to exchange also the queens. After this, of course, all these are examples by my mind. Yes, they are not theory or anything. Of course, we will take. But let's say even a move like this would do the job. For example, he takes here. I take with a knight and c6. I don't really like this move because he will play bishop f5 and exchange the bishops. And then we are not worse, not at all. We are still slightly better after king d2 because we have better development, but it may tend to be very equal. So instead of bishop d3, who will suggest a move, please, here? Let's see. I see several interesting ideas. But I also see some kind of threats here. So this move also has to be taken into account. Maybe this is possible. The idea of this move is to defend the pawn on d4. Yes, then we want to gain space with h4 and such moves. Another playable and yet a little bit risky move can be this. I want to play knight e3 and c3. For example, he castles knight e3. This is the French exchange, yes? And you will beat everybody in this position. For example, if you learn the ideas. Here, I may play h4 just to gain some space. And here, I will happily play f3. Look at this wonderful position. And if here, we take it and we play king d2. Again, white after g4 is enjoying a nice advantage. We won't play here only if it is absolutely necessary. Yes, here still white is slightly better, but we will, of course, prefer to keep the bishops on the board. Yes, here he is even losing a piece. Let's say here, and bishop d3, and we will enjoy this position. What is the characteristic of this position? We traded the dark square bishops. Immediately when we trade the dark square bishop, we want to exchange queens. Let's explain now something else, please. Let's suppose that in these very relevant positions, really very relevant, he plays. So we are here. Now listen to this, please. White is better anyway. He can play all kinds of moves. Of course, not take here. So about this move a4, which can be played in a million different occasions. When we play a4, he is almost forced every time to answer with a5. If he plays any other move, then we play a5, gaining space on the side. If he even puts this pawn here, he is completely lost. Here I will start crying. And even with his pawn on a7, white has a huge advantage. Black cannot move anything from this side, and black is worse on both sides of the board. So whenever we play a4, keep this in mind. He should be able to play automatically answer with a5. And now, if, for example, this is happens to be very strong, we won the game. But here, it is not so strong. Black can continue with rook a8, but if it was somehow a little bit different, for example, if he was forced to take here and play something like this, he's simply completely lost. So when you are in a position like this, please keep in mind this a4, a5, b4. For the moment, it may be not working. So I will play such a move, but I am looking for a good moment. I always have it in at the edge of my mind to play this a4. If for some reason his a5 move is not working. For example, here, nobody will play here, but I'm just saying, a4 threatening a5. He goes here, I play this, I'm threatening to take. That's the end of the game. If here we create more weaknesses, we enter the B line, it's over. And if he takes here, I take back, I play a5, and at a good moment, we will either play b5 at a good moment, or a6, opening up the position and beating him. So this is the way to play these positions. When we exchange the dark square bishops, we can happily exchange also the queens. So queen d2, let's check what happened in this game. Totally different things happened. Knight c3 and black castles long, castle short. So here, white is better. A very common idea is f3, g4, h4, and another common idea is this h4, h5, and h6. If here he plays h6, then we have a target with f3 and g4. So we will combine all these threats with development, not just pushing pawns. And of course, at any moment, we are ready to drop everything, stop whatever we are doing, and go to an endgame. So he played here. f3 is possible, h4 is possible, all these moves are possible. Which one is the best? Once again, only the computer knows. What is the theory here? Theory is totally pointless. We like that. We like that. Black will be frustrated here. What happened to his knowledge of French defense? So let's say he plays here. His knowledge is useless. We take it. I may play this move. I may play even this move. And after this, for example, what to play here, please? Okay, d5 is dropping. Let's suppose that I cannot win this pawn on d5. So one very interesting move is this. For example, he takes it. I may consider even taking with a king. He takes it. Okay, here we are threatening. He is also threatening. So I play here. I defend. He goes here, and finally h4, first priority. Yes. So bishop here. He goes here. I can do this. We can also play such a move, like here, for example. He takes it. We take with the king. He plays here. This is, in fact, a funny move. We were anyway intending to give the bishop. I play here. Okay, this might be dropping. Let's save it, the calculation for another time. Of course, in the game, we will capture it, and if it is dropping. And here, white, first of all, white is better here. But we have one problem. I see one piece which is not really working well at this moment. The rooks, yes, but none of the four rooks works well. Only the E file is open. So I see one piece which I don't really like. I see this knight on c3. I would like to have a pawn on c3. So I may consider playing this move here and withdraw this knight here. Next, I will put it to e3, maybe even to f2 and to d3. For example, he plays, I don't know, a move like this. Let me enter this g4. And once again, the same type of advantage here. And I can play this or this. So white is better. Let's say we play here. Let's exchange that. And a4, he needs to play this. This is absolutely only move. And here, nice advantage to keep on playing for hours. Yes, at some moment we want to play c3, maybe b4. From the other side, g5 or and later h5, for example, at a good moment. And we are torturing our opponent, and in the end we will win. So castles, castles. Let's see what happened. Knight c6, f3. And black played bishop e6. Knight g2 is good. Maybe g4 and h4, they are all good. We are playing without theory. a6, rather slow. h4, either g4 on the next move or h5 and h6. So here, but if he goes b4, we will play knight to a4. So white played this. Another playable option is this, but of course, and queen f4, we need to know what is happening. Like here, I see this, for example. Yes, calculation is also needed. Yes, I see this. Probably it's not a problem. We will play, let's say, this move, but it needs to be calculated nevertheless. Okay, like maybe it makes more sense instead of this to either capture immediately and play queen f4, or let's say play this move first and now take it and play queen f4. So, and if he takes, we happily take with the knight, and again we are doing very well. After this, I would be hesitant to take. He will take with the f pawn, and our f3 pawn can be weak. So I'm not sure about this move. This move is not automatic. We may, for example, play here, or we may even play this move, intending h4 and h5. Okay. Yes, here he can play, for example, a move like queen d7 or queen d8, and then we will continue with h4, with chances for both sides, yes? Yes, if he goes here, we will chase this knight away after some moves. Or maybe we can play this move, for example, here. Yes, and now it's a nice playable position. So let's see what happened very fast. King b1, knight a5 is an interesting move. He takes, and queen f4, very nice. Knight c4, and he immediately captures. Knight takes here. If he takes with a c pawn, but this is not really something. This black is worse. This is absolutely nothing. We want to exchange this bishop, yes? So here, white is better. Let's see what happened. Knight f4, g4, and now I will show you a motive. So bishop d3, white is better. And now you will see an idea that completely changes the evaluation. White here played the move which I was also thinking to play. He didn't take on g6. He played the move h5. In fact, after h5, if you can believe, take a note about this plan, you may get it. Black is winning by force. Isn't this unbelievable? White is losing here. This is something like minus 160, minus 2. Black has this move, which he found it, of course. Husman is a very, very good player. And he played this. Be aware of this plan. Now he is winning. Here, f5, completely winning. So we need to be careful. We check another game now. This game, just a second. This one. So here we go. Again, zero theory. Bishop f4. Bishop d6 again. Queen d2. The idea is knight c6, knight c3, and castle. So here, yes, knight c3. He takes, we take it here, and castle. We can also play bishop d3 here. We are not really afraid of this check. We will go knight g2. And all of a sudden, we can also castle short here, yes? So he castles, c6, and f3. Well, probably even this move is good, just to develop the pieces. Anyway, f3 was played, and g4 and h4. I really like white's position. The position plays itself. He played here, and white is better. Knight h3, for example, and bishop d3. And this is exactly the position we were talking about. Here, g5, not even necessary, but interesting. White can also play b3, or he can even ignore this knight. He can play even here. And after this, now we can play b3, or just ignore this knight again and play here. So it's important that we understand that such a position is better for white. And he played here. He put his pieces in very good positions, and later white won the game. Save. Okay. Let's check now another game, please. A game between Grandmaster Mazet Sebastien and Lagarde, Maxime, both very good French grandmasters. Maybe this has to do with their opening choice. They play the French defense. So here, knight c6. About this knight c6 move, in the second session of the French, I mean in the second offered line on the French that we will see today, we will understand that this knight c6 is in fact very badly placed there. And instead of this, white should change plan. White should play knight f3. This is the best move. And here we will check Kamsky's games, and you will be surprised to see that in positions that appear to be equal, the computer gives something like plus 0.80, plus 0.70. And Kamsky, we will see many games by Kamsky. And also we saw some in the Caro-Kann. This is just a coincidence, nothing else but a coincidence. He happens to play things that I also like. So, knight c6 by black is wrong. Knight c3 by white is good because white is very fast to castle. One tempo is the difference. White is very fast to castle long. So here we will see that the best move is not c3, but in fact knight f3. And one tempo is important. And in this position, we will see how to play here. So white chose c3, however, and he takes here. Now, here we cannot go for long castling. We will play a quiet position with short castling. So knight here was played. And knight e2, yes. Here, knight a3 is good. According to the computer, white has a good advantage in such a position, a big advantage whenever this b4 idea is possible. So queen d2, he played here, and I don't really like this move, knight here. White should maybe castle short or play this here. And he is maybe slightly better. So he should castle. Anyway, he played this move, and they go to this position. But after this knight b5, I believe black should have captured on b5. So anyway, they got to this position, castles, and now we won't study this game anymore. We took from this game what you will study it, of course, on your own for sure. This is the game between Jordan Van Forest and Kirill Marcelin. Black won in the end, but in the opening, white was better. So let's check just a second. Yes. So bishop d6 again. Bishop d6 is not the only move. We will see also other ideas. Queen d2, bishop f5, and knight c3. So he played c6. When you see this kind of slow play with c6 and everything, generally it is good to castle long. White now is better. Don't forget, soon we will win tempi on this bishop on f5. So after knight e7, if I may ask, what should white play here, please? Who remembers the plans? There is no theory here. So who remembers the plans? I already see some correct answers, of course. I would like to see at least one more player giving me the correct answer. Who else will? So we can also take on d6, but very good. f3 is the correct move, and then g4, h4, all these moves. So queen c7, now we take here. Can we play this move? Yes, absolutely. This move is entirely playable. And after he takes, we can take with the queen. This is also very interesting. And taking with the knight this time, because we want to play g4 and h4, is also interesting. Which move is best? Here, one way to find out, turn on the computer. No, this is not what I mean. We will think a lot during the game. We won't think here, but during the game, we will think a lot. We will deeply estimate both both variations. This is what we call, here is a good chance to repeat it, a critical moment. What does critical moment means? It means that I have several choices, here 2 choices, and these 2 choices lead to entirely different type of game. One leads to an endgame, for example, the other one leads to attacks. So after I notify that this is a critical moment, because the game can take totally different directions depending on my choice, then I do exactly 2 things. First of all, I think a lot with white here. I don't just play a move, I think a lot because it's a critical moment. And secondly, I calculate concrete variations. Even if it comes to an endgame, I am thinking queen takes f4, queen takes f4, knight takes f4. Maybe he will play, for example, knight g6. There, what will I do? Possibly knight h5. I like this move. And later he castles g4. So I think a lot and I try to be as concrete as possible. Yes. So here we must think at least 20 minutes here in a standard game, depending, of course, how much time we have on the clock. At least 20 minutes. Okay. So I won't turn on the computer now to ask which is objectively the best move. I think in both cases, white is better. By the way, here, well, the endgame is non-concrete, but there are some concrete stuff. For example, g4 and h4. There are some concrete ideas. For example, I believe this is a good move for black here to gain some space. And now we should play this. And we are, or maybe I can even play this position and estimate if he plays king d7, if his king is misplaced there. For example, my first thinking is to play here and then move this knight here and here, for example. And if he goes knight g6, I will happily take it, possibly give this check, and then play this move here and knight f4. White is better, of course. Let's say he plays this, knight f4. I would also give this check possibly, and not bishop d3. This bishop is the problem. We will play here possibly, and at a good moment g4. Here, king here, and all these moves. Very good. So let's see what happened. Takes, g4, yes. Bishop d3 is also absolutely normal move. h5, black won in the end, but this h5 is an interesting move. But after queen g5, white is still better. So this move was played. White should have captured on g7. This h5 move was the move that gave black the win, because white started hesitating and he didn't play the best moves in this standard game, and he lost this pawn. Later, black won the game. Okay, we check now another game. We check this game. So here, this is a bleach game. Nevertheless, the players are very good and they don't want to lose on purpose because the game is bleach. They try to play well. So Maxim Chigaev, with grandmaster with the white pieces, and Daria Voigt, if I read the name correctly, with the black pieces, with a rating of 23-43. This game was played in 2020. So here, bishop e6, castles. Yes. Here, white played king b1, for example. This is not a necessary move. Maybe a better move would be f3, for example, or here we may even consider this move. Anyway, he played this and takes, and this move is, of course, a big mistake. White was very happy to exchange and remember to totally stop threats. So here I see some annoying little bug coming here and here all the time. I want to get done with it. The move is f3. This is the move. For example, this move now, previously it was good. Now it's totally wrong. We don't want to take this knight. So f3 is the move. Once and for all, we are done with all these annoying little bugs, knight e4 and knight g4. Remember to play such moves in your game. Here, then he played knight g2. I give an example like this. For example, not at all forced. The knight goes to f4. which is the piece that we stubbornly refuse to exchange unless there is something very concrete happening. Which one of black's pieces is the piece that we don't want to exchange generally? Black's light square bishop, very good. We can exchange knights, we can exchange our bishop for a knight. Generally, I like that in this endgame, but we do not take this bishop unless, of course, something concrete is happening. I like this idea, check. Now this is very strong because the bishop will be put here, targeting the weakness. Here, yes, and now if he plays bishop e6, of course, I will capture the bishop. And white won the pawn and won the game later. So let's check now this game. So e4, e6 here, bishop f4, bishop d6. Why are all the games with bishop e6? They're not all with bishop e6. First of all, after this, we play knight f3. Now, let's suppose he plays this. So far, so good. We will play here, and we covered pretty much everything. If here we won't play queen d2, we will play here intending knight g to e2. And most likely we will castle short, but we already saw one game with this inaccurate move, and now too many tempi, and all of a sudden white castled long. So after this, what can he play? For example, a move like this. Let's say we castle short, and this game is indeed about equal, but we have chances. For example, here, this would be a mistake. Let's say he goes here, and now we can continue moves like knight g3, queen d2, with very nice and easy play for white. Besides, even in the lines where you have lots and lots of theory, even there, quite often the game is equal in the end, yes? So this is also equal, but with play. So this is exactly the same, an equal game with play and with zero theory to study as promised. So here, this move was played queen d2. And here, f3, very bad. We need to play knight c3. Here, black is almost winning after this, according to the computer. And takes, and he has this check, and he takes on b2. There is not enough compensation. Okay, this f3 was, let's say, a false note. The move is knight c3 first, and only later f3. So he castles, knight here. We are not afraid of rook e8 check. We'll play knight g to e2. He did give this check, knight g to e2. And here, this is a bad move. And generally, our plan is to castle long, of course, and play g4 and h4. So he played this, and bishop takes here. According to the computer, also, this is a nice advantage for white. He has to take with the rook because the pawn on d5 is hanging. And now we castle, and we play all these g4 moves. White is better. Not only white is better, but I don't see any reason why to choose another line than this one. So here in h4 and g5, let's say he plays this. There isn't really much of a threat here. If he plays this, we may consider this or this. And if he plays queen a5, we will play here. Everything is well protected. Now we are even threatening to take. So we have defenses there. I mean, black's attack, if there is any, it's rather slow. Okay, so here white took in the end, castle long, and this slow play always makes me happy. g4, knight g3, of course, several other moves are playable, like this one, for example. Takes, here, h4, here, bishop d3. If here I happily take with the bishop and exchange one pair of rooks. Generally, we want to exchange one pair of rooks. Even if we exchange both rooks, we are standing very well. So time to maneuver this knight and put it to e3, for example. Yes, here the best way is not to exchange, to play, for example, something like this. Please be careful about the tactics. There are also such ideas. So let's suppose we are here and here. Which is the move to consider now, please? An important move to consider. I see that he temporarily lacks coordination. So please play the move and make my day. The move is a4, because we know very well that we are threatening a5. If he plays here, that's a bad move. We play a5, and we threaten to take the a5 because his rook is temporarily stuck here. For example, after this, look, a new headache has arrived. We take the file and we start operating on both flanks. And so after this, he wanted to play here, but after this, he wanted to play rook to a8, and this is not possible. So problems begin. If he takes like here, we take it and we start pushing the pawns. And if he plays this, it's even worse. We take it, of course, and we play here. Now this knight has another job to do here, and all of a sudden, good chances. So this is far more important than memorizing here. And after, so this is a bad move. After, let's say, this move, what to play here, please? What to play? It is clearly time to correct the wrong knight. Very good. This is the move. This move is not, this knight is doing nothing anymore on d2. So take. Yes, this is even blundering a piece with g5. So here, and once again, a move like king d2, for example, c3, g5, all these moves, and we are better. I sincerely wish to all of you that you have this endgame every time when they play French defense to you. So here, and yet black, you may claim that black didn't play well, yet black has a rating of 2127. So she's a very good player. g5, which I don't really like. I would have played this because we are not really afraid of this move. I will play this. Please be careful. I always use the correct knight, the correct rook. Look here, the other rook, for example, if he declines the exchange, the other rook has a lot of things to do here on the queen side. Maybe some of the files will be open. So by now, of course, we understand and we start laughing at such a move. Yes, we would give this bishop everywhere for a knight. Imagine him playing this move. Yes, we will take it, and give him 20 euros gift. So I would have played here bishop d3. Anyway, yes, black lost very fast here after h4. Actually, there is still a strong attack because black has not developed anything. Very good. I'm showing you well-played games by white. Let's check another good game. We are still very well on time. So here, this is the game. This is a standard game between Sophie Millet and Alina Lamy, both very, very good female players. This was played in 2015. White has a rating of 2370, almost 2400 for both of them. So takes, bishop f4. Bishop d6, he takes. Queen d2 is a better move. Anyway, even this is acceptable. And c3. Okay, now the game is equal. This c6, however, we feel it's rather slow. Bishop d3, indeed the game is about equal, but I don't like this move. This is probably a better move, and at some moment bishop f5. Yes, if everybody plays very well, the game will be a draw. So this is slightly inaccurate, and now this check. The correct move for black now is bishop e6. This is the correct move. Instead, she played this, and this, as they say, plays into white's hands. White is very happy with this. Simply takes here. Yes, let's comment on this move for a while. After this, an interesting suggestion is this, queen h5, because we want to control these squares. Maybe this is an even better move, actually, here. And if black gets to make some weaknesses in his try to play bishop f5, then he may as well play bishop f5. Yes, so we castle, and this is maybe very slightly better for white, or maybe equal. We keep on playing this game. Yes. If everybody plays so well, it will be a draw in the end, no matter the variation. Yes. So here, an interesting move could have been this. Another interesting move, in fact, is this. And in some cases, we want to play here. Yes, Queen f3. I like this move even more. So here, after Queen e6, which is a clear mistake, White is happy, takes, and Knight f3. Not Knight f3. The knight does not belong there. In these symmetrical positions where only the e file is open, a knight doesn't belong to f6, and another knight doesn't belong to f3. We need to use our f pawn and put it on f3. So, in fact, without any doubt, this is the correct move. For example, here, and f3. For example, he castles, knight d2, once again, the similar type of position. King here, please be careful when you play such moves. We are not naive. Before I play the move g4, we must study this sacrifice. This sacrifice can be very annoying and frustrating, so please be careful. If you are not sure, don't play g4 at all. You don't owe it to anyone. You can play h4, for example, intending knight f4. So careful with this move, because even after bishop takes g4, even if it leads to an unclear position, black all of a sudden has a big psychological advantage, because instead of being constant, permanently worse and being squeezed like a lemon, all of a sudden he gets active counterplay. So even psychology is with him. For example, here we are probably losing. So, and if we play something like this, look, I see some moves here and doubling the rook. For example, do you honestly prefer to play this instead of some slightly better endgame where we were pricing without any risk? I would prefer the endgame, of course. This we will play if there is no other solution. Yes? So be careful with this. Be careful with these G4 ideas. If we are not sure, I repeat, we don't owe it to anyone. I play H4. Why didn't I play this move? Why didn't I play this move? Just a second. Here. Why didn't I play this? What is wrong with this move? There is something that I don't like in this move. Indeed, I don't like this. Very good. Maybe I'm exaggerating. Maybe we can play here. I don't want to take. We can play here, like taking here and playing h4. This is like very vague. I don't really like it. What's this kind of play? Let's stay in what we know. Well, let's play h4. This is the safest move. And here, unfortunately, he won't play here because he is afraid of this. But we were going to play this. So let's say he plays h5. Now I happily play this. I think it's about time to also maneuver this knight to play here, for example, or exchange one pair of rooks. Or I can start this business here and here, because I'm thinking to play knight b3. You see, I'm looking all over the board. You see, this is my idea now. Or maybe even take a knight b3 and a5. For example, he goes here, I take it, he takes it, and I saw either this move or take. Of course, I didn't have enough time to evaluate the position very well, but here I want to play knight c5. So maybe this is a good idea. Yes, we always look out for such a move. And he goes here instead. Let me take it and play a5 with a very nice advantage. For example, he plays such a move. Look, I may play here. And if he goes here, look, I double the rooks. I want to double the rooks, so he will be forced to get away from the file, which I will now take it and enter there. And of course, this knight has done its job. Now it's time to go back, possibly here and here. So what happened with all this story? We open the file and we will use it and to increase the advantage. Yes, isn't it a lovely way to play against the tough French defense? Well, there is some comparison here between the French and the Italian. I guess it makes sense. I never really thought about it. So here, white has a kind of not so good version. It's very small advantage for white. So here, and still, I would have played possibly this with black to get rid of the bishop. Yes, I believe this is very equal now. And for example, here, bring the king or knight here and here. This is generally very, very slightly better for white. So we are done with that. Just one more game. Actually, I have many more games, but I would like to show this one. So let's check what happened. This is the game between Luzhan Carolina with a rating of close to 2400 and Coritello Daisy Estella with a rating of 2428. This game was played about 10 years ago. So after this, black played here. No move can take us by surprise because it's really not a matter of theory. Like somebody played this to me, check. Okay, you play c3, maybe even knight c3. But here I would have played, let's say, this move. And after this, I will take it and we have won a tempo. We continue fighting for the advantage. Yes, but this time I won't play this, of course. We can put the queen here, or we can just take it, play here, and queen c2, for example. Very good. Let's see what happened after this. Bishop d3 was played. Maybe there are other moves as well, like queen d2 or knight c3. So white chose this, and bishop g3 here, knight e2. If black takes, white will almost certainly take with this pawn, and now she may even consider castling long again. So castles, queen d2, okay, yes, playable, and f5, but this is too much. Who will suggest the correct way for white to continue? What should white play here, please? So white should take here. And now I wouldn't say c4, maybe c4 is too much. Now I like this move. f4, what I don't like about f4 is that our knight needs too much time to go to e5. It needs to pass from here, while he will jump very fast to e4. So in fact, taking on d6 and h4, that's the idea. Black played here. This c6, whenever I see it, I'm happy. It lacks dynamic. So castles, b5, and here white is better, queen f4. Black is in big trouble now. If she exchanges the queen, she enters a very bad endgame where all these moves, f5, b5, will backfire. And if she keeps the queens on the board, she must lose more time. She played here, more time, and now some pawns are under attack. So takes, check, yes. Why didn't white take here? Because of queen takes h7, as it seems. And white wins a pawn. Okay. Yes, and white won the game. So this is the bishop f4 variation. If you ask the computer what is happening after bishop f4, because there are so many, so here, what is happening after bishop f4? First of all, it's silly to even ask the computer. It will say plus 003 or minus 0011 again, which is absolutely pointless. A million games can be played from here. Nobody is really threatening anything. And we just play with plans and ideas. So now Let's check something else, please. Another repertory, ed5, ed5, and instead of bishop f4, which I personally like very much, this bishop f4, knight f3. So this is the most common move in the French here, and some of the lines are similar. For some reason, the move knight c6 is very popular here, and I have gathered some games by Kamsky, where he almost every time beats everybody, even very strong players. In Bleach, most of the games, and some in standard games, he beats them very easily. So knight f3. Black can play many moves here. For example, this bishop here is a bit dubious. Let's see this position. And bishop f4 is what Kamsky always plays here. So by transposition, if we start with bishop f4, knight c6, we will play knight f3. Once again, it's only about plans and ideas. Concrete theory is not important. Look what he's doing. Most players do this, so he exchanges and he plays c3. This is a different story now, yes? It's not with bishop, it's not the same as before. Before we would play such ideas and f3. So c3, look what he's doing. He's exchanging all the pieces, and yet the computer shows a big advantage to white, a big, not a small. Why is this happening? Because of the very bad placement in this position of the knight on c6. So the knight on c6, and we have these pawns here. The knight is very misplaced. So bishop f5, very logical move. He castles and rook e1. So rook f to e8. Knight a3 is very interesting. The computer likes this move very much. Look here, knight to c2. And surprisingly, one may say, okay, and here it is equal. But if I ask my computer, it will give some advantage, some very big advantage, plus 0.65, plus 0.70, very big advantage. So the knight on c6 is misplaced, as it seems, when we have very fast development. And some annoying little threats like queen b5 at some moment. So this knight on c6 leaves the d pawn slightly weak and the b7 pawn slightly weak. So look, here we play, of course, this, and knight c to e7. Finally, black decided to relocate his knight. White has a huge advantage here. He played h4. This is the best move. Another very good move is this. When you see an open file, take it. It will be surprisingly difficult for black to counter attack with his rooks and start trading them. It's going to be surprisingly difficult after we double the rooks. So this is already a big advantage. He played here, rook e2, here, and he exchanged. Even this is a big advantage for white, a big, not a small one. He played this, knight here, and knight g5, and he won. Possibly this would have been a better move, and now a move like knight d3, for example. We want to play h5, maybe start with h5 first, here, and let's say here we enjoy a risk-free game with winning chances, no less, no more than that. So Kamsky won this game easily with his great endgame technique. Let's check another game now, please. So here we are. This is a Bleach game between Kamsky and Bluebaum, famous grandmaster. So bishop f4 again, bishop d6, he takes it, and c3, knight g7, very logical. Bishop d3, remember to put it there. Allow bishop g4, don't put it on e2. So black plays here. This makes sense completely, but yet still the computer gives an advantage for white. First of all, black cannot castle like this because we take on h7. Anyway, this pin is not annoying. We will play here and move the queen. So black castles long, but now this combination of long castling with a knight on c6, the computer is very happy with white's position. We play b4 and queen a4. This is a very annoying idea. f6 was played, rook e1, which is not even necessary, but it's playable. Look, and knight f1, no, this is the correct move. b4. intending, for example, if he plays here, white is winning after this move. And we are intending to play b5. So after b4, maybe black needs to play this move. And now we may consider, for example, queen here threatening b5. We may consider this, okay, this has some risks also, possibly this intending b5. Another idea is, of course, this intending a5 and later b5, just as simple as that, with a very nice attack. So generally speaking, it is good to know approximately what the computer is thinking in such positions. It is thinking that even here and exchanging pieces, white is better, and even here knight bd, we castle and knight bd2, and this attack with b4, a4 is very strong. So this is how they played. Rook e1 may be interesting too, and knight f1 is not necessary, b4 was better. Anyway, here, b4 finally. Now this is an unclear position, yet white managed to win. Let's check another game now, just a second. So, Kamsky-Grischuk. Let's check these two superstars. So he takes it, knight f3, and knight c6. Please, let's not make comparisons that are not the same. For example, the Jobava London has nothing to do with this system. There, the e-pawns are in the board, so different things are happening, yes? So, bishop f4. Now, bishop d6, we take it. Of course, after the exchange of the dark square bishops, we do have in mind all these possible better endgames, but they work better with the bishop here and the knight on e2. So here we are, in fact, in a different position. I'm referring to this player with the interesting questions that it's not always like so necessary to understand everything. Some things are so difficult that nobody in the world understands them, and yet that doesn't prevent them from playing good moves and getting a good game. Yes? So here, bishop to d3. Let's check what happened now. Castles, castles. In the previous game, Kamsky played here and knight to a3, and he was better. Here he took and knight bd2. Actually, this is an even better move, queen d3. Knight bd2, and look, some small annoying little pressure here, b6, and rook f to e1. White has a very small advantage. Black hasn't stabilized his position. So h6, queen b5, some small threats here and there. For example, a6 is not possible. And here, a4, other moves can be played as well. For example, I would possibly move this knight here, and at some moment go to g3. We can play this move. Look, for example, here, yes, we can play this move, because now isn't he going to fix the structure? Now this fixing of the structure was important in these quiet positions. Now we have a different position, more energetic. I like, first of all, yes, I like his move, this move protecting the queen. There might be some tactics. So here and g3 finally. Let's check. Takes. Not easy for black to move. He played this move. Look, this is not possible because queen takes on d5 here. And this is again not possible because we take it and we take on d5. So finally he chose this, and white is happy here. The computer gives again a nice advantage for white. h4 threatening h5. Grischuk plays this. He doesn't allow such things. After this, we will play h5. For example, here intending knight f6, I will play f3. And here I will play g4. White is better, and there is still a long battle ahead. So they played such moves, maneuvering the knights. And around here, it was like equal at some moment. Let's say almost equal. White always had something small. Here also white has some ideas, like creating a distant passed pawn. And he has some advantage. Later he won't save. Okay. Very nice risk-free positions. Again, another game. So here, bishop f4. Here he takes it, c3 again, bishop d3, bishop f5, castles, castles, rook e1, knight a3, possibly. Here, g3 for sure. Here, knight bd2, also knight a3 was possible. And now we threaten these little moves. Black played a6 to stop it, but now problems with knight c5, since b6 is not possible. So here, finally, a4 and b6. Now look, please, when we are in such a situation, we must immediately remove the problematic piece from the problematic square. The knight from b3 is doing absolutely nothing. If you keep on playing a chess game like this with a knight on b3, you don't help the knight won't help you. It will stay there forever doing nothing. So it is an urgent need to remove it. After you see this a5, b6, look, there is no question about that. On the very next move, we need to remove it. Otherwise, it will never play. So h6, possibly h4, I suppose. He played queen f5. Yes, knight f1 was also possible. According, again, to the computer, here white has a big advantage. Let's try this almost symmetrical. And here, but it seems that this knight on g6 is very problematic. Here, rook e2, and again we have chances. Yes, next move, for example, here, we double the rooks, of course, easy stuff. Then I can play this, I can play this. This knight has a future, so this is what we want to play. Okay, they go to this position finally, h4, h5, yes, here, and again, white was better, and with his good technique, again, he managed to win. If you play this French defense, these variations, they will help you to also become a better endgame player, because you will be forced to think in the endgame. So here we are, a game between Kamsky again and Karas Marek. So knight f3. I would like you to share your opinion. Which one do you like the most so far, bishop f4 or knight f3? I would like you to send me the move, either bishop f4 or knight f3. Most people tend to like bishop f4. Okay. Yes, everybody likes bishop f4, I see. However, we study this move as well, because this is also interesting, and it will help us understand the position. So bishop f4, and we take it, and c3. For example, here, is this forced? Absolutely not. Maybe he can play this move. And now we may consider this, for example, here, intending knight e5 or to castle. Look, I play very logical moves here, here, c3, castles, knight bd2, and this will give white a small advantage. For example, after this and bishop d3, let's say. Yes, we are threatening to play here, so he needs to do this, and h3, yes. So this is an almost equal position, but we know by now that such moves do not really work. We will take it. Here, I want to play this without losing my queen. I may even consider this move, but we are not really threatening to take on b7. This or even this. And for example, he plays here. We will happily capture it. Maybe jump knight e5 or just play here, and we are slightly better. Okay. Slightly better and with very low risk. So bishop g4, not bishop e2. This is a mistake. White should play bishop to d3 or knight bd2. Anyway, he played here. So rook e1. Yes, this position is about equal. No, still white has a small advantage. And here, Kamsky had a great move, queen b4. This move would give him an advantage. Now white is threatening rook takes e8. So if, let's say, he plays a move like this, again, we will be very happy to take here. How should white continue here? Please, let's see how well you understood the position. How should white continue here? What do you think? This is a nice question. I'll be back in a minute. Think about it and give me the answer. Okay, so wait, this suggestion of knight f1 soon, this is not correct because he will capture on f3, right? Yes, so we need to take on e7. And here is the key moment. The move rook e1 check is not the best, surprisingly very good. The best is knight e1. That's the best move. Now that we have the chance, we want to preserve the knights. Knight e1. At least one of the players found it. Knight e1. Then we will move the knight again, and then we may play rook e1 check. So here he has a huge advantage. If he plays this, even here white is better, but I would rather, of course, keep the knights. Let's say he plays this. We will be more than happy to do this. Put the knight on e3, and torturing begins. Shall I play this? It's good enough, but it's a little bit lazy. Objectively better is to play here and bring the king. And here he wants to play this. Even here he is worse, but knight here. So white has a tremendous advantage. And if this, I can even play g3 here, or just take it and play h4. Very good. Black has a horrible position. So this queen b4 was good. He played here, and now this is about equal. No, not exactly. No, this is not equal, because this knight on a5 is misplaced. White may even consider this. He played here, h6 and g3. Yes, he could also play this because rook e8 is not possible, and then try to enter with a queen. He played g3, and yes, still white has some advantage, of course, here, some initiative, and a risk-free game. Yes, later he won the game. Of course, make sure that you will study his great technique, not only so far. So another game that I like very much is this one. Comes between Kamsky and Antipov. This is a standard game, yes? So here, takes, knight f3, bishop f5. Look at this now, bishop f5. And strangely enough, this is the best move. Immediately he exchanges the so-called bad bishop. This theme exists also in the Petrov, the Russian defense. Bishop d3, he immediately exchanges, and he has very fast development. Besides, our dark square bishop is not worse than his. Now let's see here, and knight c6. Look at this move, please. After this, look at this amazing motive. Now, if we castle here, black will play bishop d6 and knight e7. Look at this amazing move. We play queen e2 check. Look at this wonderful move. He needs to play queen e7. If he plays bishop e7, he is much worse because he's not in time to castle. So after this check, this is a very well-known motive. He needs to play queen e7, and now we play here. He doesn't have queen b4 check, and now black has problems with his development. We want to castle fast, castle short, for example, and it's not easy for black to develop his pieces. His queen might be in danger along the e file because we will be very fast to put a rook on e1. So remember this nice idea, please. Keep it in mind, this very nice move. So here he castles, and black plays queen d7. Check, and here, and now an amazing move again by Kamsky. Kamsky knows very well now that black in this situation can only go for long castling. So he takes measures against it. The computer even suggests this move with a huge advantage for white. Look at Kamsky's move. He played bishop d2. What a wonderful idea. Black can hardly move now. If he plays a5, then he cannot castle long. So he decided to play f6. If he castles, then this is coming very fast. And let's say such a move to make some space. Here, a4, the knight is coming to e5, huge attack. Of course, if you want to succeed, you will study these games very well. You will study even more games. You will play a lot of standard games if you can, and bleach games, and you will have your eyes open for such opportunities. Don't move without thinking. So he played this, and after f6, he did play b4 and a4. Maybe he can even play c4. This isolated pawn is good for white because white has an attack. So he played this. He has a big advantage. He won the game soon after. Now let's check this game. So Kamsky with Leon Livaic. So knight f3, knight f6 this time. And he played bishop d3. We don't have any problem with bishop g4 or anything. They played this, and now castles. The theory continues with this move. This position is theoretical, and they play here in most cases. After this, they enter a slightly better endgame, like this. And after this, they play knight g5. How to study these games? By setting up the position on the board, on the chessboard. You have your computer open, and you reproduce the moves on the chessboard. You study all the games. Let's say there are 20 games. You study all 20 games and the analysis. Then you start right from the start, a second time all of them, and then ideally a third time all of them you study. Yes, and you try to find the best moves. You try to remember, trying to find the best moves, maybe change something, like find an even better move. And of course, keep in mind, these games are not perfect. Yes, humans are playing. These games, they are not theory. They are practical games in this very nice repertoire. So, of course, there will be some mistakes. Yes, humans make mistakes. So, after this bishop d6, this is what the theory plays, and they play here. Kamsky has a couple of games. I don't really like this position for white so much, so I don't suggest it. I prefer simpler stuff. So here he played this. And for example, after this, which makes a lot of sense, and knight bd2, and first of all, this is not working. White has a huge advantage here. So c6, surprisingly, in this position, all what I knew was c3 and queen c2, and we try to do something. But the computer says that after c4, white has a nice advantage. So this is the idea, c4, and knight takes c4. For example, after this, we go here intending g4 and capturing this bishop on g6. This isolated pawn is good. It's dangerous for black. Usually the isolated pawn is like this. These two pawns are not the same. They have differences. For example, here, this diagonal is open. This f7 point is very sensitive. Yes, so c4 is the best move, and this is what he should have done. Let's check, please, now. One more game, not to miss it. It's this game, Gata Kamsky, with a young, talented Greek player, Papasimakopoulos Alexandros, and also a Bleach expert. So this is indeed a Bleach game. Bishop g4 was played. This move is not considered to be so good. Why? Because we play h3, and after this, white has a very powerful move. Queen e2 check. The computer finds this move immediately. Queen e2 check. What is the idea behind this move? If black plays here, now this typical move. Bishop Kamsky took on e7. It's not correct. This is the typical move. And now we can fast go for long castling. How will we develop the bishop from f1? By a very fast g4, bishop g2. But it is black who has a problem how to develop his pieces. He cannot move with his queen from the e file, and so he has problem here. We play knight c3. For example, this bishop e3. Here we play knight c3. This is not working. We take with the queen, and after this very strong move, white is winning. So here castles long, g4, and we castle, and still black has problems developing his pieces. For example, here in bishop g2, white has fully mobilized his pieces, and black is still struggling. This position is not at all equal. For example, here I also like this move, knight e1, threatening on d5, and putting the knight on d3, like this, for example. Okay. This is just one sample line. Kamsky didn't play well. He took here, and now black has a good endgame, at least for a while. And after c3, black played a bad strategical move. Who can find a bad strategical move here, but possible to play? Yes, not impossible to play. Black played a surprisingly bad move, showing that he doesn't really know these positions. He put a bishop somewhere. What did he play? He played bishop d6. Very easy now to condemn this move because we know what is happening. Of course, Kamsky happily played here, and now he's better. He took it, and he played knight a3. He has a very safe square for his king. Please don't play here and get checkmated with rook e8. Yes, so knight a3. The knight went here, and the king to d2. White once again got a huge advantage. Here, yes, knight c2. This was even stronger. White got a big advantage, but later he failed to win this game. So that would be all. I am very happy with our choice against the French defense. This is the simplest variation to play, very annoying for black. And in these symmetrical positions, if you get used to the plans and the ideas, regardless if the computer may give equality at first or something like this, I believe we can get very good positions and win many games. After, of course, you study these games, don't try to memorize things. Yes, just very basic. Don't try to analyze it. This is totally pointless, trying to analyze such a position with a computer, because the computer will find a million good moves and it will never lose. It will never make any strategical mistake. So try to think as humans, because we will be facing humans. That would be all, and we stop for now. I hope you liked it and learned many things. we will meet again in half an hour to see after e4 some less important but playable variation, not less important, less frequent but playable variations. Bye for now and see you in half an hour.